Red?
Ready.
All right, tell us about stumbling.
About stumbling?
Something.
Something.
Nobody
Okay.
said I could speak. I'm not a wick yet.
Gotcha. Well, we visited the National Presidential Wax Museum, and interestingly enough, it was founded just recently in 1971.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah,
I thought it was newer than that.
yeah. What's interesting is that this is originally kind of the brainchild of a Hollywood wax sculptor named Madame Catherine Stuberg, and renowned movie set designers Don and Bonnie McPhee. Now, it has always been a dream of hers to create a museum dedicated exclusively to the presidency and considered the capstone of her career. Originally named the Parade of Presidents Wax Museum, the National Presidential Wax Museum is the only wax museum in the world to feature every U.S. president. Now, originally she was born in 1911 to German wax mannequin makers. The young Steinberg wanted nothing to do more than be a classically trained dancer. However, her astounding natural skill in wax sculpture and pressure from her family led her to abandon the dancing dreams and focus on the family business.
How did you discover you have a talent in wax?
I have no idea. Other
Sorry.
than, peer pressure. But as her skill and fame grew, demand for her wax figures skyrocketed as the silver screen film industry began to increasingly rely on wax figures for the purpose of stand-ins and extras in films. A-List sat for Catherine in her studio as she assessed their figure and made face and body measurements, the first step in creating a wax figure. In fact, W.C. Fields and John Barrymore would regularly show up drunk to Catherine's studio on Hollywood Boulevard, drawn to Barrymore's keen fascination with her work. Today, you can see her work in movies like House of Wax, Gone with the Wind, Charlie Chan and the Wax Museum, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, House of Wax, The Frozen Ghost, and countless other classic Hollywood movies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now we all do everything digitally. We don't need wax figures.
Exactly. Welcome to CGI land. Well, as things would go on, she would wind up retiring, and then the movie would pass into another hand in 1997. It would close its doors and sit vacant for 3 years when it was purchased by KCJ Enterprises and after extensive renovations reopened under the name of the National Presidential Wax Museum. And today the museum continues to build on Catherine's dream by adding new and exciting exhibits for every president as soon as they are elected. Well, like we saw Biden is in there now.
Yeah, I misidentified him.
Yeah. Now, Catherine passed away in 1996, and subsequent sculptures in the museum were created by Catherine's mentor, a fellow named Henry Alvarez. Now, Henry had been creating wax figures since 1968 when he answered an ad Catherine had placed for a job making papier-mâché figures. For 3 years, Henry learned the intricacies of wax sculpture from Catherine under careful tutelage, and in 1970, when Catherine sold her Los Angeles studio to Ripley's International, Ripley's Believe It or Not, Henry was hired by the new owner as a production manager until 1986 when he opened his own wax studio, Alvarez Wax Productions. From 1986 until his death in 2012, Henry created numerous wax figures for the National Presidential Wax Museum, including Ronald Reagan, Jackie Kennedy, George and H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George Bush, and Al Gore. Henry's sculptural work can be seen in many 1980s films, including The Thing, Legend, Bugsy, Total Recall, and all 3 of the RoboCop movies.
Ooh.
The new basically person running the wax figures is an award-winning master crab wax sculptor, Jethro Crab. That's where my crab was coming out of. English native and graduate of the Wimbledon School of Art in London, Jethro worked 8 years as a freelance wax sculptor for London's prestigious Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. Now, there's a name that is pretty much gone legendary because Tussaud actually survived the French Revolution with her ability to make figures of people who were deceased off of bodies. And she did countless sculptures in wax. I mean, one of her museums just is huge. Jethro's wax figures were regarded as some of the most realistic wax figures ever created. He had led teams on trips to the United States, Europe, Australia, and Asia to measure, photograph famous celebrities, some of which include Brad Pitt, Meryl Streep, and Anderson Cooper. Jethro Krab's wax figure of the newly elected President Donald Trump was unveiled in May of 2017 and has been met with critical acclaim and is believed to be the most realistic wax figure of the president in the world. He also has a website, sculpturecommission.com.
Ooh.
But yeah, so it's been a museum that's been in good hands, and as you can see from the video, they did a lot of work. Some of them are very creepy, which
Very
is kind of
creepy.
spooky. And enjoy the piece that they had on Jimmy Carter, because he almost had to do a stand-in for a debate with Reagan. But enjoy the video, folks. This is Joe.
Here's a shout out just for you. You support me, so I support you. This time I didn't do the finger, so I didn't mess it up. Just kidding. I didn't mess it up, so there. Today's shout out is going to be for a fairly new friend, Weightlifting Geek. His channel is very interesting, much more so than I first thought when I saw the title of the channel. It's not just weightlifting. He's got inspirational quotes, a daily vlog, and he does shout-outs. I know you guys like shout-outs, so please check him out. He gave us a shout-out recently, so I want to return the favor. So give him a shout-out. Let him know that we sent you over. Like, share, comment. Comments are important. They need to know you were there. Leave a comment in the description of the video. Or not in the description. Below the description. Well, you know where to leave comments, so do it. Thank you. Bye. Today we're going to the National President Wax Museum because it's free for locals. And we are local. And we figure, since we don't have to pay for it, why not go inside and see it? It'll probably be a little creepy. We've got Joe, our fluffy boy David, who doesn't come with us very often, but hopefully now that the weather's a little bit warmer and things are starting to open up for summer, he'll be with us occasionally, and of course Goose Angel.
Elsewhere, so we're coming in chilly weather.
Second shout out just for you. You support me, so I support you. This shout out is for our friend. 54 degrees north. Is it northeast? No, I think it's just north. See, I know stuff. Yeah, it's just north. 54 degrees north. Otherwise known as Alan. I see Alan a lot in lives and premieres. He's very active, very supportive, cool guy. He's got a channel that is full of very cool things. Crazy man likes to sleep outside and camp and travel and explore, so check him out. Make sure to let him know that we sent you over there. Like, share, and comment. Make sure to support one another. Have a good day.
A vision. David's the president.
Hey, David, go sit up there.
Go stand up behind the podium.
All right, David, now you're the president. Give us a speech.
To make America great again.
Angel's disappointed. All right, Angel, you get up there and make a speech.
Gay rights.
You should have said gay lefts.
No.
As the person with the best beard in South Dakota.
He has nothing else to say.
I am the bearded historian. It's my job.
Wait, my turn?
Okay, hold it right like this. And point it up here so you can see Mommy.
You see,
Oh,
Mom?
president speeches. I do not care. I hope you all have a great life. Goodbye. Good job, buddy.
Fucking homophobic, or I will steal your toes and blend your teeth.
I was just getting elected.
No, I'm pretty sure she's not.
I don't want to be a fucking president.
No food or drink.
Man, they really got his weird ass face. Look at that shit. Look at that fucking man.
Let me bring up my other camera out here. Hang on a second.
This is my favorite president right here.
You've only known one, but that's still okay. Hang on a second. I gotta zoom out. Okay. This is Bush. George?
No, that's Biden.
Oh, well, what do you know?
You just traumatized the girl with that.
I'm sorry, I know nothing.
I know you don't like it, but
Oh, interesting. Face life masks.
hello, old
Buster
man.
Keaton, George Ginger Rogers, Amelia Earhart.
Well then,
Sid Rosen, Napoleon Bonaparte,
Bonaparte.
John Franklin, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Robert Livingston.
Do you know this one, Angel? Miss I Know Everything.
When did I say that?
I didn't. I just thought I'd ask. Besides that, it tells you their names.
Yeah.
Senator Clay looks like he's already dropped something on Mrs. Adams.
Yes.
I only recognize some of the names because I like the musical Hamilton. I don't do history or anything like that, so.
Sally Madison, Van Buren. Gerald Ford.
Yay! Wasn't expecting him to be there. Everybody else is in big ones, and he's just like, there.
Upper Jackson.
No comment from the peanut gallery. Abe does not look like the way I pictured him.
Yeah, they have him without his beard.
It looks wrong without the beard.
Yeah.
Hamilton is just playing in my head. Especially the part where Hamilton's yelling at, I think it was, George Washington about General Lee. Apparently he sucked ass. Was very stupid in the battlefield. 0 out of 10.
I'll have to teach her history again.
Never said it was historically accurate.
Exactly.
Ooh, more people's in tombs. Why do they have some in these little thingies and everybody else in big thingies?
Look, it's Victor Polka.
Oh,
Polk.
he looks weird.
Piers, yeah. Almost cross-eyed.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
James Buchanan.
I like that they pay homage to the indigenous people.
I don't know who any of you peoples is.
Civil War. Oh,
You can
crazy
just know
horse,
you can just
Green
move
Face,
to the other
Symbol.
room. You don't need to communicate with the top. He's right.
This is the first telephone. They weren't sure it would work.
Oh.
They figured a shorter cable would have better success.
Ah.
What do you think, David?
I think this is probably an interesting history of how was the first ever telephone.
Of course, you folks know what he heard when he took and answered the phone, right? We're here to call you about your extended warranty.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Ah, yes, the first wedding in the White House. Grover Cleveland.
I didn't know anybody had gotten married in the White
Of
House.
course, some people might say he was robbing the cradle. She was only 22 and he was 49, but, you know.
It's so significant age difference.
Hey, Betty.
Hello, more people's in glass tombs.
Y'all look at this dumb whore. He's got blood on his fucking head, but he's just fucking chilling. And that guy looks fucking possessed.
This one looks very angry and slightly cross-eyed.
Actually, that's a birthmark. That's Gorbachev. He was the Russian premier. I know.
But look at that.
I almost thought this was a ghost behind the lady, but it's just supposed to be Liberty.
That was the guy that helped shut down all those missile silos.
Looks fucking creepy here. They did not do him justice. Look at that fucking bitch.
Yeah, he's always been a bit...
I've seen pictures of it. That's fucking hideous.
Did you see Lady Liberty back here? I saw it because she was gray. I thought she was a ghost.
Yeah, I thought so too. And then I got disappointed. Heartbreaking. Oh look, more men. Cool.
We haven't had a lady president yet.
I know, I hate it.
Hopefully soon.
I would run, but it sounds like a fucking exhausting ass job.
I agree with you.
Oh.
There you go. There's David's.
Yeah.
David is autistic, but he loves firefighters. Wants to be a fireman, or at least work in that field.
This looks so creepy. Look at the dude behind him.
I almost didn't see the dude behind him.
Now look at the video. You can see where they got the image for.
He's not that close behind him. He's like in stalker mode. Like, yeah.
Oh, he looks like Biden sniffing a little girl. I mean,
Those fires, you smell so good. That's literally what he fucking looks like. That's disturbing.
I am not arguing with you. That is. Oh.
Absolutely awful.
Joseph Stalin.
And David, do you have any words of wisdom on this? Because this probably has to be your favorite exhibit. Those are your words. Got it. Very, very, very much very talkative, that boy.
I do like this one here, though.
Is this one important in some way? I don't recognize any of these people because I know nothing.
Okay. Our history lesson. You know I'm going to bring it. This was at the Yalta Summit. This is when they made the decision to basically split Europe among the World War powers after the victory over Berlin. Joseph Stalin, bloodthirsty dictator, controlled Russia, famous for killing millions of Jews. Winston Churchill, ironically, was actually voted out near the end of World War II and replaced by another guy.
I guess I didn't recognize him because he didn't have his hat.
Yeah. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt died in office, and he was the guy that was replaced by Truman. And Truman was the one that made the infamous decision to drop the nuke on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But, this is basically where they came to the Potsdam conference and made the decision that Stalin would get Berlin, we would stop the Elbe River, and basically you got to watch the map get divided up, almost like a really bad game.
Churchill looks sad. Jefferson looks like he's looking at me concerned. And Stalin looks like he's bored.
Yeah. Stalin was Stalin for time.
Uh-huh.
Who we got over here?
Somebody. Truman.
Oh, yes.
I don't recognize them until I look at the picture.
Yeah.
You could probably name all of them without the picture.
Well, we know that there was Margaret Thatcher. She was the one that coined the phrase the Iron Curtain. Used it quite a bit when we were trying to help them stop Soviet expansionism. I actually think it was Churchill that originally said it, then she just borrowed it excessively. Now, our black fellow, I think that was the first dignitary from Africa to be the General Assembly.
I do not know.
Yeah,
This is your thing, not
I
mine.
know. Study more.
No.
Oh, I'm trying to remember the names. I'm getting old. I'm 48.
I would study it more if there were more girls in power.
Okay, I'll study it. Margaret Thatcher. She was awesome. The Iron Lady is what they nicknamed her.
I do. I plan on researching the girls that I see in here. There's just only women in power.
Wow, he looks lonely. Everybody else had a friend, but he's alone.
He's all by himself. He got in office for 2 terms. He was big in World War II as well. Commander of Allied Forces. Of course, he had a terrible spat with Montgomery, the British commander. Ah, yes.
Angel, you want to hide under Daddy's desk?
No. See, this one's actually kind of cute and actually kind of interesting. There's a mirror right there.
Yeah, they referred to what the White House during his time as Camelot. Because he was such a dynamic leader. Sadly, he died in office.
There's gonna be a shit ton of demons and stuff coming through those portals if they do not fucking lock them up.
Shh, we have other people's. I want to know why there's blood on our legs.
for the Kennedy assassination? Because it looks like it says there, just hours after the assassination.
Maybe.
Stunned Jackie Kennedy. Oh, probably the wife, maybe.
Okay, well, that took like 11 minutes. Does anybody want to go back and see something? I feel like we zoomed through that.
Yeah, he did it at a pretty good clip. Voting booths and butterfly ballots. A lot of people said this came all the way down to the Supreme Court, this decision here. The infamous hanging Chad's ballots, and they felt the Supreme Court basically handed it over to Bush, and as you can tell, Gore was not happy with the decision, but
Oh, we could circle around. I don't really want to end the video at 11 minutes.
No, I'd like to get a couple more. Is there?
It also sucks because there's like people around there and they're like, oh, shut up.
Well, we can go back towards that way and see if they're out of those areas.
yeah. Circle back.
Yeah, let's go back a little bit and see. Maybe look at the pictures on the wall or something. Because we didn't really look at those. Here you go, Angel. I think these are the first ladies.
That's cool.
Don't quote me on that, but that's what I think they are.
You forgot what's her face under the desk.
Oh, bad daddy. It's supposed to be highlights of the presidents, not the naughtiness of the presidents.
This was kind of interesting, though. They almost shipped Jimmy Carter to the debate.
We should probably come back to this later. There's a man staring at you right now.
This one here, he was actually sworn into office in the air. This is after Kennedy got assassinated and he was named president.
Yeah. I was wondering why they had so many windows. I didn't realize it was a plane.
This one here was kind of cool because this was after the Apollo mission to the moon landed in there in basically the decompression chamber. Also to make sure that there wasn't anything that followed them back from the moon. I'm not sure what's with the coconut.
The psych episode.
Yes.
No, that's pineapple. Never mind. Well, we could just sit here for a minute and then go that way. Or maybe you could tell us a interesting tidbit of all the other ones until we get back to the old people.
One little interesting tidbit about Great Diaz. Now, he actually played football against Jim Thorpe and he got ran over twice. They were playing in college football, and he said it was the hardest tackler he ever had to try to stop on the gridiron back in his days.
Angel's impressed.
I know, Angel's highly bored with that. Some of the interesting tidbits. One of my teachers at Central would always tell me if you wanted to make him lose an hour of the day, just get him start talking about Winston Churchill. He's a big fan of the guy. Two of the stories that I remember him mentioning was that there was a time when Churchill actually visited Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And one night he had gotten up and he was looking for something to, have for a midnight snack. And Winston Churchill actually had a skin condition that made any clothing very itchy. Well,
I can sympathize with Winston.
yeah. He basically went to the kitchen, pretty much without anything on.
Woo!
And when he ran into FDR there, he said, "Mr. President, I have nothing to hide from you."
Literally.
Literally. The other story that was...
You missed the naked dude story.
I heard it.
Okay.
It's not a loud
an
voice.
interesting story was Winston Churchill was probably one of the only men who could actually hold a good beverage drinking contest with Stalin. And one time Winston Churchill went to a party of some note in England. And one of the ladies is just always pride and rugged. And he came to the party. He was a little souse. And she flared her nostrils and says, "Mr. Churchill, you're drunk." And he looked at her with one eye and said, "Ah, and you're ugly. But tomorrow, I'll be sober." Needless to say, they still didn't get along for some reason. But
Yes, and I doubt he has a big voice. Even when he's trying to whisper.
yes.
I'd also like to make it clear that museums don't.
Oh, wow. I just realized I just saw that 3D effect on that back screen.
Yeah.
Sorry. It caught me off guard. Continue.
Well, this was the guy that, for the irony, his summer home, he considered it to be up here in the Black Hills. One of our high schools actually had a wing that was named after him, Coolidge. Sadly, it was destroyed in a fire in the 70s, and now is a great big field. But he helped set up a lot of the features leading up to the Black Hills and the advent of population and prosperity. Up here we've got Peter Norbeck. We did several runs up into the wilderness, and it's very, very pretty scenery way up there because it just literally spreads out. Of course, some of the roads are, and if you're not ready, you're going to get motion sickness driving on them. But
That's why we can't take Angel to the Needles.
exactly. Gutzon Borglum, the original architect and carver of Mount Rushmore, and John Boland, another sculptor.
This dude on the end looks very smug, doesn't he?
Yes, he
He
does.
does.
Probably the man who had a lot of money to make it all work.
Yeah, I also want to say it's not that museums bore me. It's just, the content. Now, if you took me to, say, Museum of Death,
On our list, I promise.
I would probably switch places with that, and I would be running around screaming about all the different true crime things and the serial killers and like all the items that were with it. I'm just saying, I'm not boring. I'm not one of those teenagers that just wants to.
I know this just isn't your thing. I understand. I knew that this would not be a big drive, which is why we didn't come when we had to pay for it.
Here's a little history that I didn't realize. They
Ooh, be shocked, Angel.
had a summit in 1988 in Moscow, the first superpower summit to be held in Russia in 16 years.
We're also here to make fun of the very weird and disturbing looking sculptures. They're shit's terrifying, man. 0 out of 10.
David, what do you think of the wax figures?
I think they're pretty cool.
You think they're pretty cool?
I actually seen the YouTuber Dan TM actually making himself a wax figure of himself.
Interesting. Do you want a wax figure yourself?
It'll be interesting to check out.
And the Angel's reaction.
No. Emergency exit. Perfect. Farewell. Weirdos.
Bye.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Alright. We can go back to the newspapers if you want to. Or closer to them. I don't know where the old people have gone. At least now we're back over 15 minutes, so I don't feel as awkward ending the
Yes,
video.
I was like, yeah, I got a video. Oh, there's still people.
Yeah, I don't understand these. Why do some people get big boxes and then some people get these little...
The naughty man. He go in naughty box. Bad
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I would actually, William Harding, him and Herbert Hoover over there, they don't exactly have a warm spot in history. As they were dealing with panic and...
There aren't a lot of warm spots in history. History's dark.
Pretty much every president has their trials and issues.
Do we want to just sit for a few minutes? Yeah. Okay, let's go over here and sit then. Repeat all of that.
Okay, to take and get these three guys to the Yalta Conference, from what I'm understanding, Franklin Delano Roosevelt had to go by submarine because, well, America's on this side of the planet. They had to sail across the Atlantic Ocean, through the Mediterranean, through the Bosporus by Turkey, and then up to Yalta, which is the Crimea in the Soviet Union, or former Soviet Union for you history folks. If I remember right, Winston Churchill, they actually were able to move him via ship, which I still say is highly dangerous because at that time the Wolfpack German submarine fleet were actively sinking ships. I would want to be on top of a ship if a torpedo's coming at it, but that's just me.
My question was why he had to go by submarine instead of by plane. That was Joe's answer, and I asked Angel if he answered my question. Her response:
Sky dangerous, water good. No, sky, water good. Underwater specifically, under the sea.
For a quick question, how many airplanes are in the sea and how many submarines are in the air?
None.
Exactly.
What?
Nothing. I just want to see your reaction to Daddy's question about submarines in the air. Would those be blimps?
Oh, they could be dirigibles. It's a funky name for blimps.
Got you. Well, should we give them a... Okay, you were telling us about these earlier.
Well, for those of us who have studied history, Jimmy Carter kind of went down in history as one of the worst presidents possible, responsible for the Iran getting a Ayatollah, harboring the president of Iran in the United States. We had several dozen people wind up becoming hostages, and then a botched attempt to try to rescue said hostages. But anyway, they have a little fun here because one of their presidential Carters almost went to the debate. Irony on my birthday in 1980. And the cute little joke here is that Reagan's there, Anderson's there, and Carter is slowly melting away. But yeah, and they even have a letter, League of Women Voters. Congratulations on sponsoring the presidential debates. Since President Carter refuses to debate, I'll be happy to furnish you without charge the use of our life-size wax figure of Jimmy Carter from the Parade of Presidents. So they actually even volunteered to send it over to the debate, but darn, they wouldn't accept him. Maybe they had a problem making the mouth move or something. But yeah, they had it all over the news. Wisconsin State Journal ran a piece on it, the picture of it being outside of the Wax Museum here. But, and of course, after Carter lost the election and was sworn in the exact same day he was sworn in, our hostages were flown out of Iran to the cheer of the people. So, another fun little tidbit of history. Although I think it's weird that they've got Bush with Carter. But that's because Reagan was back there with Gorbachev.
Mm.
I know he's supposed to be bad and everything, but like at least back then he said something really nice, which is, you know, no poor, rural, weak, or person of color should ever have to bear the additional burden of being deprived of an opportunity of an education, a job, or simple justice.
Yeah, we're still working on that. Living in a rural area.
I know, but it's nice to hear, especially like that far back then.
Yeah.
Like back then, oof, shit was bad.
And Mommy won't let me say what I wanted to say about him.
I'm just saying, I understand why they couldn't include her. That's all I'm saying. And that is the end. Don't forget to put down your thingy if you didn't already do so, Daddy.
Yep, I did.
Okay.
So then the
Put
book
your
had it.
put your waddy down.
Oh, I didn't really grab them.
Well, I think he took Daddy's at some point. Say goodbye.